Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Bold and beautiful today. Dirty plan uncovered. Grace was arrested and lost her medical license. While Liam recovers at Bill's, Grace receives another startling call, and the deacon predicts that Steffi will view Sheila as a hero. When Bridget and Finn realized their patient was no longer there, Liam had surgery and his tumor was magically eliminated. At the clinic, Grace informs Bill that the surgery was successful and that she believes Liam will fully recover. Bill gives the physicians credit. To make sure that all of the malignant tissue has been removed, OUTRAGE takes Liam away for an MRI. When Grace informs Bill that Liam will be placed in his care today, Bill is taken aback. He believes that his son ought to be recuperating at a hospital. She clarifies that it must be done somewhere else and that she believed he would prefer a private solution. He will be taken home in an ambulance accompanied by a committed nurse. She is certain that moving him that rapidly is acceptable. He responds that the wire transfer is complete when she inquires about it. She received her $1 million. She informs someone it's happening now after receiving a call. As Liam is wheeled in, his father assures him that he will remain by his side. They clasp hands. According to Grace, they can release Liam but must wait for the MRI. If something were to happen to his firstborn son, Bill tells her, he doesn't know what he would do. She gave them extra time, and for that he is incredibly thankful. Finn and Bridget discuss how strange it is that Grace approved Liam's release at the hospital. She is certain that there is a plausible answer. According to the chart, Liam was stable. They are simply overanalyzing, and they want to think that Grace was working in his best interests. Liam was placed in a room at Bill's estate by Nurse Sheena. As soon as the MRI results are sent over, she will share them. Bill sighs and informs Liam that he is currently at home. Liam murmurs. Steffi and Hope are at Forrester, awaiting word on Liam. Sheila loses another toe, and Hope tells her about it. According to Steffi, the situation with Sheila has gotten even more difficult. She's trapped with a feeling of appreciation for her. They discuss how Beth and Kelly are unaware of what is happening. How long can they keep Liam's death a secret? Finn gives them a call to let them know that Liam is now in Bill's custody. The women go crazy. Grace approved of this, according to Finn, and they are seeking clarification. Bridget has just found out that Grace is no longer with them, so Hope and Steffi head straight to the hospital. Neither have the women been able to locate Bill. Bill tells Steffi that Liam is with him over the phone. Finn is worried. According to Bill, Liam underwent life-saving experimental surgery today. When he tells them that Liam has a chance of surviving, they are stunned. Bill turns to face his son and declares that he would die for him. He will get better. Steffi and Hope believe that their daughter may not actually lose their father. Hal and Lacey bring Sheila tea and cookies to Il Giardino. For his 8-toed beauty, Deacon delivers 8 flowers. She talks about fresh air while eating her cookies. He reminds her to elevate her foot. Sheila sighs and then remembers the shooting at the beach home when Lacey pulls him over to look at something. Is there any news regarding Liam? She says. She is still in shock that Luna is no longer there. She believes there was more she could have done. He believes she may have gone too far. Although he admires her loyalty, it nearly resulted to her death. According to Sheila, Luna had no malicious intent. She is now permanently gone. Deacon is simply appreciative of her presence. She might also be gone if she hadn't alerted Steffi. Finn and Steffi will need to acknowledge that she is a hero. She is uncertain if Steffi will perceive it in that manner. They are concerned about Liam. His ordeal cannot have been in vain. Deacon compliments her on her amazing and considerate nature. He has never been more proud of her or more terrified of losing her because she is also a hero. Reminding him that he didn't lose her, Sheila gives him a kiss. Liam Spencer, whose very existence had hung by the thinning thread of an inoperable brain tumor mere hours before, lay unconscious, the invasive growth miraculously excised from his brain. Yet, the relief flooding Bridget Forrester and John Finnegan was instantly contaminated by cold dread. Their critical patient had vanished from the operating suite without their knowledge or consent. Across the city, In a setting dripping with old money power rather than medical sterility, Dr. Grace, orchestrator of this clandestine salvation, delivered jarring news to Liam's father, the formidable Bill Spencer Jr. "We pulled it off," she announced, her voice betraying a clinical detachment that felt chilling under the circumstances. "The tumor is out. I believe Liam will make a full recovery." Bill's gratitude, a raw, vulnerable thing rarely seen on the Titan's face, surged forth as he thanked the enigmatic doctor, only for it to be immediately fractured by the arrival of Dr. Adhikari, tasked with whisking Liam away for a crucial post-op MRI to confirm every malignant cell had been eradicated. This sliver of hope, however, was violently shattered moments later when Grace dropped another bombshell. Liam was being discharged, today, into Bill's personal care. Bill's incredulity erupted. This defied every medical protocol he understood. His son, fresh from brain surgery, belonged in a high-dependency unit, not a private home. Grace, smooth and unflappable, countered with rehearsed pragmatism. The necessary recovery environment couldn't be provided within the clinic's constraints, and she assumed a man of Bill's resources would prefer absolute privacy. The plan was audacious. Liam transported via ambulance with a dedicated private nurse, Sheena, in attendance. Grace assured Bill the move, though alarmingly swift, was medically permissible. The unspoken transaction hung heavy in the air. Bill confirmed the wire transfer, a cool $1 million, had landed in her account. Grace's curt nod was interrupted by a jarring phone call, her cryptic response, "It's happening now," echoing ominously as Liam was wheeled back in, pale and fragile. Bill's declaration, "I'm not leaving your side, son," was a vow etched in paternal desperation as he grasped his unconscious child's hand. Grace reiterated the need for the MRI results, yet pressed forward with the discharge. Bill, his voice thick with emotion, confessed his terror at losing his firstborn, his profound gratitude to Grace for gifting them precious, stolen time, a sentiment that felt tragically poignant given the unfolding mystery. Meanwhile, back at the more conventional hospital, Finn and Bridget grappled with the sheer implausibility of Grace's actions. She signed off on releasing him hours after major brain surgery? Finn's disbelief mirrored Bridget's deep unease. Scrutinizing Liam's chart offered only the flimsiest reassurance, stable. They strained to attribute Grace's conduct to benevolent, if unconventional, judgment, attempting to quell their rising suspicions, whispering reassurances that they were merely overthinking the actions of a brilliant, albeit eccentric, colleague acting solely in Liam's best interests, a rationalization that grew thinner with each passing, unanswered question about Grace's true motives and abrupt protocols. At Bill's opulent estate, a room hastily transformed into a makeshift ICU, Nurse Sheena efficiently connected monitors while Bill hovered, a specter of anxiety barely contained. "You're home now, son," he murmured, the words meant as comfort sounding more like a plea into the void. Liam's faint, incoherent mumble was the only response, a fragile thread connecting him to the world. Sheena promised immediate relay of the MRI results once received, a promise that did little to ease the profound uncertainty shrouding Liam's fragile condition in this luxurious, yet medically dubious, sanctuary. Across town, within the elegant confines of Forrester Creations, Hope Logan and Steffi Forrester clung to each other, united by dread as they awaited any scrap of news about the man they both loved, the father of their children. Hope relayed the bizarre update on Sheila Carter, another toe lost. Steffi's response was laced with bitter complexity. "Things are even more complicated with Sheila now." The specter of Sheila's desperate, bloody intervention at the beach house, the act that saved Steffi's life but cost Luna Nozawa her own, forced upon Steffi a corrosive, unwelcome gratitude. Their thoughts inevitably turned to their oblivious daughters, Kelly and Beth. How much longer can we hide that their father is dying? Hope voiced the unbearable question, the weight of impending loss crushing their attempts at normalcy. That weight shifted violently when Finn's call pierced the tension. Liam had been discharged into Bill's care. Panic seized both women. Finn's explanation, Grace's authorization, their own frantic search for answers, propelled Steffi and Hope towards the hospital, only to collide with Bridget's latest discovery: Dr. Grace had vanished. No trace. Simultaneously, Bill remained unreachable. The world seemed to be dissolving around them. Finally, Bill's call connected to Steffi. Liam was with him. Finn, listening in, tensed further. Bill's explanation, an experimental, life-saving surgery performed that very day, landed like a thunderclap. "There's a chance Liam will live," Bill declared, the words resonating with a fervent, almost fanatical, hope. Turning away from the phone, his voice dropped to a raw, intimate whisper directed at his unconscious son, "I'd go to hell for you. You are going to be cured." For Steffi and Hope, the impossible suddenly shimmered on the horizon, a future where their daughters might not face life without their father. Yet, this fragile hope was inextricably tangled in the enigma of Grace's actions and Bill's desperate gamble. Amidst the high-stakes medical drama and familial terror, a quieter, yet no less charged, scene unfolded at Il Giardino. Sheila Carter, the perennial villainess now physically diminished and emotionally raw, sat with her bandaged foot elevated, accepting tea and cookies from the solicitous Hal and Lacey. Deacon Sharp arrived, bearing 8 flowers, a darkly romantic gesture for his 8-toed beauty. Sheila, momentarily distracted by the simple pleasure of cookies and fresh air, was gently reminded by Deacon about her elevated foot. As Lacey called Deacon aside, Sheila's momentary calm shattered. A visceral flashback, the deafening gunfire, the chaos at the beach house, Luna's life bleeding out onto the sand, slammed into her. "Any news about Liam?" she asked Deacon, her voice tight. The guilt over Luna's death was a fresh wound. "I still can't believe Luna is gone. I could have done more." Deacon, ever her pragmatic, fiercely loyal anchor, countered gently, "You might have done too much." His love for her unwavering, even reckless, devotion was tinged with the terror of nearly losing her. "He loves how loyal she is, but it almost got her killed." Sheila's defense of Luna, "She didn't mean any harm," underscored the tragic pointlessness of the young woman's death. "Now she's gone forever," Sheila whispered, the finality crushing. Deacon's focus remained solely on Sheila's survival. "If you hadn't warned Steffi, she might be gone too," he stated, planting the seed of an idea that felt revolutionary, dangerous. "You're a hero, Sheila. Finn and Steffi are gonna have to realize that." Sheila's scoff was laced with decades of bitter experience and Steffi's unrelenting hatred. "I'm not sure Steffi will see it that way." Their shared concern then pivoted back to Liam, the unintended catalyst for this entire tragedy. His survival felt like the only possible justification for the bloodshed, the only way Luna's sacrifice wouldn't be utterly in vain. "What he went through can't be for nothing," Sheila murmured, investing her own fragile hope in Liam's recovery. Deacon, looking at her with a mixture of awe and profound fear, declared her incredible, thoughtful, a hero in his eyes, confessing he'd never been prouder of her, nor more terrified of losing her. Sheila's kiss was both reassurance and a promise, he hadn't lost her, not yet. But Deacon's words hung heavy in the air, a prophecy waiting to be tested. "Steffi's gonna have to realize you're a hero." Could the woman who had dedicated years to destroying Sheila Carter ever perceive the architect of so much pain as a savior? This radical reframing, born from Deacon's love and desperation, threatened to upend every established dynamic in Los Angeles. Even as Liam fought for his life under Bill's watchful, desperate eye, Grace remained ominously absent, and the crucial MRI results, the cold, hard truth of Liam's precarious condition, lingered somewhere in the void, a ticking time bomb beneath the fragile hope in Deacon's audacious prediction. The call Grace received, the $1 million, the rushed discharge, the vanishing act, these weren't just medical anomalies, they were threads in a dark tapestry being woven around Liam Spencer's survival, while Deacon dared to imagine a redemption arc for Sheila Carter written in the blood of a tragedy none of them could escape. Is Liam still married to Hope despite his memory loss following surgery? Following his next surgery, Liam Spencer may experience some memory loss. Will Liam wake up thinking that Hope Logan is still his wife? Fans of B&B are aware that Liam has agreed to a risky treatment that could go horribly wrong. Liam will not emerge from this procedure precisely the same person he was before, even though he will survive the upcoming surgery. The procedure we are discussing will be performed on Liam's brain, which is still developing. The degree of risk involved is evident from the requirement that everything be kept secret. It's possible that Liam will remain in a coma for some time, which would give Hope and Steffi Forrester more grounds to accuse Bill Spencer of hurting Liam. The show might, however, take Liam's plot in another way, one that would significantly affect Hope and Carter Walton's romance. Liam pushed Hope to make amends with Carter after he believed his terrible fate was set in stone. When he was gone, Liam wanted to make sure Hope had a special someone in her life. The likelihood of partial memory loss must be taken into consideration now that Liam is having this frightful brain surgery. What if Liam experiences at least partial amnesia as a result of having his tumor removed? If Liam wakes up thinking he was still married to Hope, that would be intriguing. Similar incidents have been told on the show before, like as when Steffi woke up believing Liam was still her husband after Sheila Sharp and John Finnegan fired at her in the alley. Maybe Liam will be the one to wake up believing that Hope is his wife. If Liam's thoughts could travel back to a period of his happy marriage to Hope, how might she respond to that information? Although Hope would initially be taken aback, she might eventually warm up to the prospect of starting over with Liam. Liam may reassure Hope that he doesn't care and that all he wants is a future with her, even when he finds out how their marriage failed. When Carter is given another chance at life, he might worry that Liam will win Hope away. Liam Spencer awakening from the abyss of anesthesia, not just disoriented, but fundamentally rewound, his fractured mind reconstructing a reality where he is still happily, irrevocably, married to Hope Logan. Imagine the sterile chill of the recovery room, the rhythmic beep of monitors, a metronome counting uncertain seconds, as Liam's eyes flutter open. The relief of his survival washes over Steffi, perhaps even a guilt-ridden Bill, and a conflicted Hope who stands vigil out of lingering care, if not current love. But then, Liam speaks. His voice, weak but laced with a familiar, almost boyish affection reserved solely for Hope, calls her name not as an ex-wife or co-parent, but as his wife. He might reach for her hand with the ease of ingrained habit, inquire about Beth with the assumption of their shared domestic life, or express confusion about her palpable hesitation, his brow furrowing not with the pain of surgery, but with the bewildering disconnect between the vivid, loving marriage playing in his mind and the cautious distance radiating from the woman before him. This isn't a calculated ruse, it's the cruel poetry of neurological trauma, a temporal short-circuit where the tumor's removal inadvertently excises the painful chapters of betrayal, separation, and divorce, leaving only the golden, albeit incomplete, memory of Lope in its prime. His mind, seeking sanctuary from the trauma of illness and invasive surgery, retreats to a perceived safe harbor, the stability and profound love he once shared with Hope, a time before the devastating revelations about Thomas's manipulations, before the slow erosion of trust, before the divorce papers were signed, and certainly before his own self-sacrificial push towards Hope finding solace and potential love in Carter Walton's arms. This selective amnesia creates an agonizing dissonance. For Liam, the love is present, urgent, and unquestioned. The years of heartache simply don't exist in his accessible consciousness. He exists in a poignant bubble where his greatest fear was the tumor taking him from Hope, not the reality that he already lost her through the complex, painful unraveling of their relationship. His declarations of love, his desire to go home with her, his confusion over her absence in his hospital room, all would stem from a place of pure, unadulterated emotional truth as he currently understands it. He might recall Beth's birth, their shared struggles, the deep bond they forged, but the events that ultimately tore them apart are locked away, casualties of the surgical intervention meant to save his life. Hope Logan, standing at his bedside, would be utterly blindsided, emotionally sucker-punched by the sheer, heartbreaking incongruity of the situation. One moment, she's the supportive ex-wife, grateful for his survival, perhaps even finding tentative new love and stability with the steadfast Carter. The next, she's thrust back into the role of Liam's wife, a role she consciously relinquished, by the man who looks at her with the undimmed adoration of years past. Her initial reaction would likely be a vortex of shock, profound guilt, and paralyzing confusion. Seeing Liam so vulnerable, so fundamentally altered, clinging to the idea of her as his anchor, would tear open old wounds and create devastating new ones. The guilt would be multifaceted. Guilt for having moved on, however cautiously, with Carter, guilt for the role their mutual failings played in the divorce, guilt for potentially causing Liam further pain when the truth inevitably surfaces, and perhaps, buried deep, a flicker of guilt over the relief she might have felt when their tumultuous marriage finally ended. Her mind would race. How could she shatter this fragile illusion he clings to for comfort in his disoriented state? Would correcting him, forcing the harsh reality of their divorce upon his recovering mind, constitute a cruelty that could hinder his healing or even cause further psychological harm? Yet, maintaining the charade, even temporarily, feels like a profound betrayal of Carter, of her own hard-won emotional progress, and of the truth itself. The weight of Liam's unwavering, misplaced belief would press down on her, forcing her to confront feelings she thought were neatly packed away, the deep history, the undeniable love that did exist, the shared parenthood of Beth. Could this impossible scenario, born from tragedy and malfunctioning synapses, actually offer a perverse pathway to reconciliation? The terrifying question for Hope, whispered in the quiet moments of the night, would be, does Liam's amnesiac love reflect a deeper, buried truth within himself that he was too hurt or proud to acknowledge before the tumor, or is it merely a neurological glitch, a phantom limb of a relationship long amputated? Simultaneously, Carter Walton watches this agonizing drama unfold from the periphery, his newfound happiness with Hope instantly destabilized. He witnessed Liam's selfless, albeit misguided, directive for Hope to find love with him. He believed, perhaps naively, that Liam's potential sacrifice cemented his own place in Hope's future. Now, Liam's survival, coupled with this memory reset, feels like a cosmic betrayal. Carter sees the look in Liam's eyes when he gazes at Hope. It's the look Carter desperately wants to inspire himself. He sees Hope's turmoil, her instinctive pull towards comforting Liam, the flood of shared history overwhelming her present. Fear, cold and sharp, would grip Carter, fear of being relegated back to second place, fear that the bond between Liam and Hope, forged through years of intense joy and shattering pain, is simply too profound for his newer, calmer love to compete with, especially when Liam presents as the vulnerable, devoted husband from a happier past. Carter's natural decency would compel him to step back initially, to give Hope space to navigate this medical and emotional crisis. But the simmering insecurity, the feeling of history repeating itself with Liam once again an obstacle to his happiness with Hope, would inevitably boil over. He might plead with Hope to remember their present, their potential, to not get swept back into the chaotic lope vortex out of pity or obligation. He might even, in a moment of uncharacteristic harshness, point out the inherent instability of building a future on the foundation of Liam's faulty memory. The love triangle, which Liam himself tried to dissolve, is violently resurrected, now infinitely more complex and painful, with Carter positioned as the potential victim of neurological happenstance. Beyond the immediate romantic turmoil, Steffi Forrester's protective fury would find a new, potent target, Bill Spencer. Liam's precarious state, the coma risk, the potential permanent damage hinted at by the memory loss, would be fuel for her relentless blame campaign. Every setback, every moment of confusion Liam suffers, would be laid squarely at Bill's door, reinforcing her narrative of his destructive influence and deepening the Spencer family rift. Thomas Forrester, ever the opportunist orbiting Hope's world, would likely see Liam's condition as a bizarre advantage. If Hope is emotionally entangled once more with a vulnerable Liam, it potentially removes a rival, Carter, and keeps Hope preoccupied, possibly creating space for him to solidify his own position or simply revel in the chaos that distances Hope from others. Thomas might subtly encourage Hope's nurturing instincts towards Liam, hoping the complexity drives her further away from Carter and deeper into a state where Thomas's persistent presence feels like a simpler constant. The potential long-term ramifications are vast. If Liam's memory gradually returns, the dawning realization that the happy marriage he awoke believing in was a phantom, that Hope had moved on, and that he pushed her towards Carter himself, could be a second, profound trauma. The grief over losing Hope again, this time compounded by the humiliation of his amnesiac declarations and the potential public spectacle, could plunge him into a profound depression or fuel a bitter, self-destructive spiral. Conversely, if the